All right, before we get started, I just want to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we could all face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you guys would keep your hats off, I just want to have a quick moment of silence for all our departed brothers and sisters who lost their lives in freedom. Okay. All right, so we had hoped for a much bigger turnout, but the rain, I guess, is just not going to be cooperative. We have 4 speakers, and as it's starting to rain again, I guess we're going to try to make this a little bit shorter. So my name is Bobby Zahn. I'm the president of the Richmond County Tea Party Patriots, and I'm also the county organizer of Gun Rights Across America, the New York chapter. And together we put this program together today. Now, today almost didn't come down, but not because of the rain. It almost didn't come down. And I know we talk about this a lot. We talk about the Second Amendment protects the First Amendment. Today almost didn't happen because on Tuesday we were denied the permit. Now, I realize that everybody here knows that we have a right to assemble peaceably, right? That's our First Amendment right. But here in New York, we do things a little bit differently. We have to get a permit, we have to get permission, and pay a fee. I personally always thought it was more about the fee. But in this case, we were denied the permit. So, as you can see, we have some people who really don't want stuff like this to go on. They want this stuff swept under the rug, and they want to keep us down. Now, luckily, what we did was we put this out on social media. We put it out on Facebook, not only on the Richmond County Tea Party Patriots website, but we put it out in Gun Rights Across America to 31,000 gun owners and supporters across the United States. Within an hour and a half, the police captain's email was full, the phone was ringing off the hook, and the following day we got the permit. Now, the reason why I'm telling you that is not to say there's, not to blame the NYPD. I'm sure that he was told what to do. I would have liked to have seen him stand up and not do that. But at the end of the day, the point I'm trying to make is it's not only the Second Amendment that's under attack. It's every single right that we have. So this is what we're up against. Now, the question is, why are we here today? We're really here for one reason and one reason only. As New Yorkers, we're here for the NYSAFE Act. We're here to oppose it. But, we had a rally a couple of months ago over in front of Congressman Grimm's office, and we talked a lot about the SAFE Act and, and how it's not going to do what it's intended to do or what they say that it's intended to do. That's not really what I want to try to accomplish here today. Because I think anybody here who came out in the rain really kind of knows that the SAFE Act is problematic. So that's not really where I want to go. But there are some things about the SAFE Act that you do need to know about. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to get into that. The next speaker is going to get into that. We're going to leave all the technical stuff to Dino, because he could do it in a way that I never possibly could think of doing. So what I want to talk to you about is, what can we do about the SAFE Act? Now, there's a lot of things that are out there. There are a lot of, there are a lot of initiatives that are out there. There are rallies going on every day. There's a big rally going on in Albany on Tuesday. If anybody should want to attend that, if you go to rctpartypatriots.com, by the end of the day, we'll have a link up to that. But there are rallies every day. People are calling for the repeal of the SAFE Act. It's not happening. It's not getting repealed. So there are different things that people are saying to do. I know a lot of groups are saying we should just not comply with it. Is that something that's really feasible? Is that something that's pragmatic? No, it's probably not, because you see, we're law-abiding citizens. We're probably not going to want to, risk getting arrested. We all have things to lose. That's why we're law-abiding citizens, which is, of course, exactly why the SAFE Act is not going to accomplish what they say that they want it to accomplish. So I'm sure that there are going to be some people who are going to do that, but that's not going to be the answer to get rid of it. Another thing is lawsuits. There are a lot of very patriotic American attorneys that are working on this. There are patriots that are filing lawsuits. And it's not that lawsuits are a bad thing. Lawsuits are a part of this. It's definitely a part of this. But many years ago, somebody said, and I think it was Oliver Wendell Holmes, but I didn't look this up. He said, when you go to court, you don't necessarily get justice, you get the law. The law and justice are very often two different things. Now, if Oliver Wendell Holmes was alive today, what he might say is, when you go to court, you don't get justice, you don't get the law, you get political activism and judicial activism. We saw the Obamacare fiasco. We thought that that was a slam dunk. We thought that there's no way that they were going to uphold that. And sure enough, that was upheld. So, again, lawsuits, it's another avenue to take, but it's not going to be the thing that gets it done for us. There's also legislative repeal. There's a bill right now being forwarded by a very good friend to all of us, and somebody that, that frankly I wish our legislators would take a cue from, Steve McLaughlin. They're forwarding legislation to repeal the SAFE Act. But as long as Andrew Cuomo occupies the governor's mansion, it's not going to go anywhere. So, what can we do? What can we do? All that we can do is political action. But we have to figure out who that political action should be aimed towards. We can aim it towards our local legislators. Apparently, I don't think they really care. We have, here in Staten Island, we had Titone voted for it. We had Savino voted for it. Mike Cusick voted for it. I guess we kind of expect that they're going to vote for it. But we also had Lanza vote for it. We also had Malliotakis support it. And, hang on one second. Let's just let these guys go past. Okay. And in local legislatures all over the state of New York, they're passing resolutions that are condemning the SAFE Act. Here in the city of New York, our local legislature, which is the city council, passed a resolution to throw bouquets at the feet of Cuomo and ask that the SAFE Act be made a model for all the rest of the country. And that was opposed by not one single Staten Island legislator, not Jimmy Otto, not Vinnie Ignizio. Debbie Rose, of course, voted for it. In fact, Halloran, who got indicted, was the only one who voted no in the city council. So, we may not have friends here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the most effective people to go after. Who we have to go after is Andrew Cuomo. And God, I want to say Mario Cuomo. I cannot get Mario Cuomo. I'm going to say that before today's over. I'm going to say Mario. So, we have to get rid of Mario Cuomo. Now, how are we going to do this? And I'm going to start cutting this a little bit shorter because I can see it's starting to really come down. How are we going to do this? We have to take our cue from Obama. We have to build ourselves a ground game. We have to organize. What we have to do is go out in our neighborhoods, our friends, our relatives, our co-workers. We have to organize, start to find out people who are going to vote against him. If we don't do that, what we're going to end up with is apathy. Upstate is already lined up against him. You could see by the ads that are on the television every day, all day long. He's spending millions and millions of dollars trying to protect himself because he knows he's in trouble. But he also knows that if he could keep us quiet down here, that he could just squeak out a win because, let's face it, we're very outnumbered. We're very outnumbered down here in, down in the city. So, what I'm going to ask each and every one of you to do, and I had really hoped for more people here today. I wanted to get 100 people to sign up today. But apparently we're not going to get 100 people to sign up because we don't have 100 people here. But if you go under this tent, I want you to sign up as a volunteer. We're going to Within 30 days, you're going to be contacted. We're going to have a meeting. We're going to start sending people out in a grassroots fashion to start to identify voters, people who will oppose Cuomo. We can do this. I'm hoping that we get enough people. I'm hoping we started with 100 people. I'm hoping that we get 500 people to go out to every election district. It's 4 or 5 blocks each election district. They're people that you know anyway. Go out, talk to these people, ID them. We'll phone bank them. We'll get them out to the polling places. And hopefully what we'll be able to accomplish is all the other boroughs in the downstate counties where we are very weak will be able to take our cue and stand with upstate and get rid of Andrew, I almost said Mario, get rid of Andrew Cuomo in 2014. Now, I'm going to leave you with this. This is something that I always wanted to do, and I hope I could pull this off. I cut my teeth as a conservative listening to Bob Grant on the radio. So some of you know what I'm going to do. Yep. I want to send a message to Andrew Cuomo. Ascendame, that's right. Andrew, ascendame. Duce provino svachim. And he is. Thank you very much. With that, I want to invite up Dino Longoria. Dino. All right, here comes Dino's going to go over the technical stuff. He could do it much better.
Take this one. I don't need no with that. Oh, you're all right. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out here today. Most of all, I'd like to give a big thanks to Governor Cuomo, because what he did in the long run is to bring us all together. And I'd like to believe that in the short run, sometimes things have to get worse before they get better, just like a sickness. Just like an illness, sometimes it has to hurt before it starts to feel better. What he did, I'd like to believe, is to wake the sleeping giant. Throughout the state, the gun owners of New York have been the silent majority. Not in the city, perhaps, but throughout the state. In the city, there are enough of us to make differences in elections. If only we all get involved. If we all stand up for ourselves, if we're not afraid to write a letter. And I'd like to ask everybody a favor. Not a favor to me or to the party, but a favor to yourselves as gun owners. Stop being your own worst enemy. The gun owners have been their own worst enemy for years because they've all kept their heads down and almost been embarrassed to admit that they own firearms. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's your Second Amendment rights. Write a letter to your legislators. Let them know why the SAFE Act is wrong. I mean, it is wrong on so many different levels. I'd have to keep you here all afternoon to explain it all. But right now you've got retired law enforcement of every different agency being called at home by a detective cadre so that they will be told to divest themselves of their magazines for their handguns and replace them with 10-rounders. Ask the local elected officials, is this what you had in mind? They work in various forms of security. These were the guardians of our society. And is this what you had in mind, Diane Savino and Titone and Lanza and all of the others? Don't be afraid to stand up for yourselves. Gun clubs tend to not talk to each other and operate on their own separate pages. We've got to get past all of that. We've got to organize and start talking to each other and acting like a block. And we ask nothing more than respect, but we can accept nothing less than respect from our elected officials. We're going to fight this, and we're going to deal with this the same way you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. No one person, no one action, no one lawsuit or attorney or elected official is going to solve the problems that face us. We're going to solve it one person, one action, one lawsuit, and one legislator at a time, and that's the only way we can look at this. Thank you all again for coming out here in the rain, and thank Governor Cuomo for getting us out here in the rain and showing that this is what we believe in. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, Luis Armando.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out in this beautiful weather. I'm wondering, are there any Marines in the audience at all? Any Marines? Raise your hands, please. I need somebody to hold my umbrella. Anyone? No? I didn't realize that the IRS also controlled the weather. It's unbelievable that every time an event like this goes on, we're here in the rain, but you know what? It shows our fortitude and how much we believe in our rights. I'm not here to talk about the SAFE Act so much as I am to talk about a bigger topic. Liberty versus tyranny. That's why we're all here. This isn't a red versus a blue issue. This isn't a Republican versus a Democrat issue. This is a people issue. This is our natural rights at stake. Without the Second Amendment, we have no other amendments. We have no other rights. If we cannot stand up for our freedom, no one else will. This is individuals, one at a time, standing up for what this country was meant and founded on. Freedom. The freedom to go out on a rainy day and speak to maybe 50 people about their rights. We shouldn't have to file for a permit to speak. We were almost denied the right to be out here. What is our government coming to? We're faced every day with oligarchs at every level of government. We have a governor who thinks he's a king, an elected king. That's not democracy, everyone. Why are we standing out here today? Because we're fed up. Why would any group of people come out in a rain like this? Because we're tired. We're tired of having our rights stripped from us every day. It's a progressive agenda, okay? They believe in incrementalism. They take our rights piece by piece by piece, crumb by crumb. And now here we are. What are we going to do? How are we going to show our government that we are fed up? We can't be to elect just Republicans. It can't be to elect people who say that they're conservatives. Because look at what happened with the SAFE Act vote. Everyone except one Republican stood up and said, yes, Governor Cuomo, we'll do what you say. Whatever you say, King, we just want to keep our jobs. What are we going to do? What do you all want to do? Do you want to stand idly by while your rights are stripped from you? Do you want to stand idly by when the police come to your door and say, okay, it's time to turn over your guns? Give us your magazines. Give us your bullets. What are you going to do? Are we going to stand up and say, we are sick and tired of this? It's time for change. It's time for real change. We have a president who sends his IRS goons to audit groups like ours. Is that okay? Are we okay with that? Well, what do you want to do? You tell me. You want to stand up? Do you want liberty or do you want tyranny? Liberty! Do you want a king? We could go back to the King George model if you want. Our founders fought and picked up their guns and stood in front of the redcoats and said, you will not take our rights. You will not take our guns. You will not take our freedom. It's time for us to do the same thing. I am sick and tired of government telling me what to do, where I can be, who I can talk to, what I can say. My natural rights will not be violated. And I ask all of you to stand with me and say, enough. You will not steal our rights. You will not take away our freedoms. We have fought for 240 years to keep free. We are the last bastion of freedom on this planet. And if we, the American people, do not stand up and fight for our rights, no one else will keep them for us, and no one else will allow us to have them. Just remember one thing, and I want to leave you with this commentary. I ask all of you to do two things. Stand with us, come under this tent, and sign up as a volunteer. First, we take out Cuomo. Then we take all the other progressives and the Republicans, conservatives that act like progressives. We don't have real conservatives in any level of government at this time in Staten Island. Don't let people fool you. I commend our legislator, Joe Borelli. He voted against the SAFE Act. But he only voted against it because it didn't include the law enforcement exception. What about us? I'm not a police officer. Does that mean that I can't have a firearm? I'm fed up with it. I'm a law-abiding citizen, okay? Why can't I have a gun? Why can't I have an open carry permit? I'm sure all the drug dealers and all the criminals are all going to protest because when they go to file for their gun permit, they're going to be denied, right? That's what they have to worry about? No, we have to worry. All the legal gun owners have to worry that our rights are being stripped and our guns are going to be taken away.
Criminals love the SAFE Act.
The criminal, yes, exactly. The SAFE Act is the criminal's best friend. It keeps them safe and it keeps us in danger. And the second point I want to address is that liberty does not have a party. It's not a Republican ideal. It's not a Democrat ideal. It's not a socialist ideal. It's not only a libertarian ideal. Freedom is an American ideal. And in order to preserve our freedom, we need to come out on a rainy day, stand here, get soaked and sopped, and speak out. That's the only way we're going to win. I thank you, and enjoy the rain.
Thank you.
And speak out is exactly what we're going to do. The rain is just not going to stop us. It's just not gonna. It's gonna take the numbers down, but it is not going to stop us. Now, I just want to say one thing. Lewis had brought up about Joe Borelli. Joe Borelli's a friend of mine. I consider the guy to be a friend, and yes, he did stand up. He was the only one in Staten Island who voted against the SAFE Act. But Joe Borelli declined an invitation to come here and speak today, and that concerns me. So, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ron DeVito. Ron?
Right here.
I'm all right. Fellow citizens and patriots, I want to begin by asking those of you who served, please raise your right hand. We thank you, we honor you, we salute you. Without your service, we would not be here today. When we last gathered 3 months ago on a cold, rainy Saturday, I ended my speech with 2 Greek words, Malone Labe. It means come and take it. Those words conjure up images of jackbooted thugs kicking down doors to take our guns as we fight in a last stand for freedom. Back then, I discussed some proposed legislation that envisaged confiscation, including language in an earlier version of the SAFE Act. None of us here ever want to see that day come. So I am here to talk about how we put Malone Labe into action via the legal and political process. We have already taken one of the first steps, and that's by being here today and making our voices heard. Whether we attend rallies such as this, write letters to our elected officials, make phone calls, or share calls to action on social media, we must make our voices heard in ways that work best for each of us. Our representatives need to know that this issue is absolutely not negotiable, and if they vote against the Constitution, they're voting themselves a pig slip, period. When the NRA, ILA seeks funds to help in a lawsuit against New York SAFE, donate. Be sure to join the NRA, or if you prefer a smaller group such as Gun Rights Across America, Gun Owners of America, National Association of Gun Rights, or the Second Amendment Foundation. All these organizations offer easy ways to send letters and make calls to your elected representatives at the federal and state levels. And you can use these tools for New York State representatives when it comes to New York SAFE. If someone is charged under the New York SAFE Act, advocate and help his or her legal defense. Those of you who are lawyers, do pro bono work in this area. We need to push our representatives for a full repeal of New York SAFE. We need to get Governor Cuomo out of office, and we need to keep the pressure up. Never drop our guard. We need to rally the good politicians by our side and support candidates who will not compromise on this issue. The left is winning the social media war, and I'm sorry to say it's because the left is doing social media right. If you're on Facebook, you see a call to action or a rally notice or a constructive YouTube video, like it and share it. Even some of those silly condescending Wonka posts are worthy of sharing. You don't need to ask for permission to share on Facebook. We need to get out of that mentality. The whole point of Facebook is to share. We don't post things there for our health or because we like looking at our own stuff. Same thing on Twitter. You see a good tweet, retweet it. You don't have to ask, just do it. The left is doing it right on social media because they share and they have mastered grassroots organizing. I also like the Americans for Prosperity model. Send an action alert to 5 people. Get them to do it. Get them to report back to you. And have them send it to 5 other people and report back. That's how you organize. That's how you get things accomplished. And for those of us who do own guns, it is incumbent upon us to never become that person who gives the politicians an excuse to strip away our freedoms. Our Second Amendment rights come with a grave responsibility that involves life and death. Some common sense reminders, everyone. If you are not fit to drive or operate machinery, you're not fit to handle guns either at that time. Guns, alcohol, and many medications don't mix. If you have raging anger and lingering depression, it's not a good combination with your guns. We must always adhere to the 4 cardinal rules of gun safety. It is always loaded. You never point it at anything you're not willing to shoot. You keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot. And you never shoot unless you're sure of your target and its backstop. We may disagree with various gun laws, but you do not want to be that person who was arrested and made an example of. You are subject to the laws of the jurisdiction you're in. You don't want to be that person who does something stupid with a gun and is slapped with a felony charge and ruins your life. And being safe and responsible with our firearms is not optional. It is a severe and serious responsibility that comes with our Second Amendment rights. We do Malone Lave by being safe and responsible gun owners and working via the legal and political processes to repeal bad laws, such as New York Safe. We can do this. We can consign New York Safe to the scrap heap of history. We can get Governor Cuomo out of office, but we have to work at it. We cannot wish it away. We have to take action. We have to get out there, we have to organize, and we have to get out on social media. And together we can make New York Safe a thing of the past. Malone Lave.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming out. But I'm going to leave you with this one last thing. Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. We can't do anything without you. If you have not gone under that tent, you know, you get out of the rain too, by the way, if you go under that tent. Sign up, you get to stand there. If you have not signed up, this is not going to be successful. Please, please sign up. Please become a part of the solution. If not, I hate to say it, you're a part of the problem. Thank you very much for showing up, guys. Be safe. Thank you.